It's May 16th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today. In this show, we'll be talking about selling a tooth. We're talking about how and why Bitcoin is on track. Also, spot Bitcoin versus Bitcoin stock, what that even means. The hero's journey. You and I are both on that right now. And of course, some great Michael Saylor video clips. This video is not financial advice. Please do comment below. Your comments mean the world. We only have a handful more hours before the end of the day today to get to the all-time high. Right now, we're trading around 103,000. So need about a 5,000, 6,000. Now, let's just go with a $7,000 dollar spike today just to kind of clear us over that all-time high hurdle. So comments in the comment section, ATH. Let's get there by 7 p.m. Eastern today, and let's dive on in. All right, our first post today is from Michael Saylor, who just wants us to come with me if you want to live. The Bitcoinator. You got to love it. He's back and he wants your sats. Because what is he going to do? He's going to take your sats. He's going to turn them into more sats with something called Bitcoin yield, Bitcoin gain, Bitcoin torque. Let's go. And Michael Saylor says, sell a tooth if you must, but keep the Bitcoin. And all I have to say about this is if you know, you know. If you don't, you have a very enjoyable Financial Times documentary to watch. And I just have to scroll down to this, even though FTB says, I'm legitimately sorry about this. It's unfortunately worth showing. Let's go to Bitcoin Archive. He says, Bitcoin is on track. And if you look at this chart, listen, all charts, they are what they are. But listen, this is fun. There's just a choppity chop, and then ba-boom in 17 and 18. And then here we go, choppity chop. Where's the ba-boom? Well, I know you hope it's coming, and I hope it's coming. I think we both know it's coming. Chris says, strategies, capital allocation framework visualized. What happens when a public company designs its entire capital structure around Bitcoin? You get a treasury that compounds. You get a capital stack that scales. You get a balance sheet that is purpose-built for the digital age. You get strategy. So look at this. Strategy's capital allocation framework. Boom. Strategy. Fixed income, 42 billion. That's in convertibles, Strike and Strife. 20% complete here. In the equity, we got 42 billion. That's the ATM. Into MSTR, that's 47% complete. And the cash from the business, let's go. We know that all goes back into Bitcoin. And Chris says, if you're optimizing for ROI, return on investment, here's why owning a Bitcoin treasury company is a good idea. A Bitcoin spot, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. That is beautiful. That is pristine. And I will always love this. Bitcoin ETF, one Bitcoin is actually less than one Bitcoin. We'll get into details in a bit. In a Bitcoin stock like MSTR, one Bitcoin is greater than one Bitcoin. So why is that? Well, you can look at spot versus stock. So here's a spot, one Bitcoin, pretty simple for 10 years. ETF, you're going to get eaten away. You're going to have less Bitcoin. And then in Bitcoin stock, this is assuming a 10% yield. We know that Michael Saylor is already at 15 and probably going to 40 this year. I mean, who knows where he's going to end up, but that could easily be the number. One Bitcoin turns into 2.6 Bitcoin after 10 years. That's with a 10% yield. Let's go. BitStrategy says, imagine being an early settler in America, the land of opportunity, cheap land, enough for everyone. We can build a new life here. But as the years rolled on, the best land gets scooped up. The juicy, fertile lots are first to go, of course. After a while, all the land is owned. New travelers arriving in America today can't simply plant a flag and declare a patch their own. It's already taken. Bitcoin is the Wild West of cyberspace. Act accordingly. And I know that I am, for sure. The MicroStrategist says Saylor and MSTR are on the hero's journey. Yes, they are. And we're all along for the ride. So number one of the hero's journey, call to adventure. Realizing that cash is inflating away, hearing Satoshi's call. 2, crossing the threshold. Starting a Bitcoin treasury in 2020, taking a leap of faith. 3, the road of trials, endless mocking and derision from media and tradfi, obstacles of every sort. 4, the abyss, the last bear market. Saylor bet billions on Bitcoin and lost was a headline in the Wall Street Journal. 5, metamorphosis, transforming the capital markets with new products, launching 1,000 Bitcoin treasury companies around the world. This is the metamorphosis right now, baby. The ultimate boon, speeding up the adoption of sound digital money for everyone, and MSTR becoming the most valuable company in human history. This is the next step. It's pretty exciting because we're already at step 5. Step 6 is the next step. And then boom, returning the boon is number 7, giving away the secrets along the way and taking his personal Bitcoin stash to the grave as a final gift to humanity. Call to adventure, crossing the threshold, road of trials, the abyss, the bear market, the metamorphosis. We have arisen out of it. Bitcoin companies coming up everywhere. Some will succeed, some will fail mightily. The ultimate boon, and then returning the boon. Love it. Great post here, Marty. Chris says the craziest thing about the flood of all these new Bitcoin treasury companies entering the market is that literally 99.9% of the world has zero idea what is happening, and yet it is the biggest thing to happen in finance ever. And somehow this got 212,000 views. Pretty crazy. Good job, Chris. But it is quite a statement, and it's true. Got some amazing video clips of Michael Saylor. Let's go.
So about this possible winter, are you really not feeling the cold?
Look, if you're going to invest in Bitcoin, a short time horizon is 4 years, a mid-time horizon is 10 years. The right time horizon is forever. Warren Buffett said, if you wouldn't hold it for 10 years, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. So if you look at the course of 4 years, no one's ever lost money over 4 years holding Bitcoin. And if you look at, our experience, we started buying it at $10,000 and now it's up by a factor of 4. So given the right time horizon, you're fine. So it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is it makes it the most exciting, interesting thing in the financial universe everywhere in the world. And the curse is it can induce anxiety for people that have a short attention span or are focused on a narrow time horizon.
With every other asset on earth, anything else you can own, houses, gold, silver, commodities, stocks, bonds, when the price goes up, the supply increases. If I increase the price of any stock by a factor of 10, the company issues more stock.
Of course.
Bitcoin's the only thing in the world that's inelastic to price. If the price of Bitcoin triples, you can't make any more. If the price goes up by a factor of a million, you can't make any more. This is a 30-year chart of returns on the S&P index. And this chart tells you that if you missed one day, there's one day every year when 85%, 90% of all of the gains come. One day. And there are 36 hours a year when all investment return takes place. So in 365 days, nothing happens 99.5% of the time. This is why we have the laser eyes. This is why we say HODL. Because, and I have said before, trading Bitcoin is a sign of lesser intellect.
And we have another great Michael Saylor video clip coming up after we thank our sponsors. Online shopping has never been easier, but this ease is new enough that we remember a time when entering all our credit card info every time we purchased something online was the norm. Luckily, we don't have to do that anymore thanks to Shopify. That's right, that purple Shop Pay button that makes it seamless to purchase online is powered by Shopify. And Shopify doesn't just make it easy to buy, it makes it incredibly easy to start a business no matter your experience. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and they make it super easy to get up and running with beautiful, ready-to-go templates and built-in marketing and email tools. Worried about tracking inventory, payments, and analytics? No stress. Shopify helps you manage it all from a single dashboard. dashboard. And back to that iconic purple Shop Pay button, it's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/MSTR. Go to shopify.com/MSTR, shopify.com/MSTR. So check it out. I know we're all looking to stack more Bitcoin and MSTR, and to do that, we need more fiat. So let's chat about our sponsor, ShipStation. We all know the market can seem pretty chaotic at times, but if you're in charge of order fulfillment for your business, you already understand chaos. While we might not be able to help calm the chaos in the market, ShipStation is here to help when it comes to shipping and fulfillment. I've used ShipStation to easily automate shipping to customers around the globe. My favorite part about the platform, managing orders in one simple dashboard makes an otherwise massive task feel pretty darn simple. Plus, ShipStation not only integrates with the services and selling channels you already use, it's also the fastest, most affordable way to ship products to your customers. ShipStation hooks you up with discounts up to 88% off UPS, DHL Express, and USPS rates, and up to 90% off FedEx rates. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/MSTR to sign up for your free trial, or click the pinned comment below this video. That's shipstation.com/MSTR. And thank you for supporting our sponsors that allow myself and my team to continue to produce these daily videos for you for free. Now back to the show.
Well, Senator Lummis has given us a clear guideline with the Bitcoin Act in Nashville in July. And what the Bitcoin Act said, it said, let's acquire 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period in a programmatic, disciplined fashion, transparent to all. And so let's consider the consequences of this strategy. Well, first of all, last week, the president signed the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act or order. If we hold that 200,000 Bitcoin for the next 20 years, even though you see a flat line on the screen, the flat line is worth $3 trillion. So that's the value of doing nothing. Sometimes people think that you have to do something to make money. Sometimes the absence of doing awful and stupid things is making money. Doing stuff is highly overrated if the stuff is trading or selling your Bitcoin. The Lummis bill would acquire a million Bitcoin or 1.2 million Bitcoin. If you look at the consequences of that over the time frame, it's worth $16 trillion to the nation. If the United States starts to more aggressively stockpile Bitcoin, it's going to accelerate the growth of the network. It's going to accelerate capital flowing in the network. It's going to increase and expand the overall digital capital network. If we move to a triple max strategy, you'll end up with 4 million Bitcoin. That's worth $73 trillion to America. And of course, President Trump has laid out a guideline. We should be the superpower. If you want a superpower strategy, here's a superpower strategy. Acquire Bitcoin consistently. By the way, over what time frame? Consistently daily between now and the 0.99. 0.99 is January of the year 2035, the point at which 99% of the Bitcoin supply has been mined. The asset becomes effectively capped for all practical purposes because the last 1% comes out over 100 years. 0.99 between now and then you've got 10 years for the digital gold rush. You should get your Bitcoin before there's no more Bitcoin for you. And you can see here, in this strategy, we acquire it consistently, and then we use surpluses from the U.S. government to continue to save in Bitcoin. It's worth $106 trillion to the United States. And so what does that look like? Well, the Lummis plan, which is grand, is modest in some ways, and a modest strategic Bitcoin reserve plan neutralizes the national debt. Sometimes doing modest things are actually brilliant as long as you do the thing. It's like the people that bought just a little bit of Bitcoin in 2012. It was a modest investment. It made them billionaires. A modest thing 20 years in advance is a brilliant thing. If you're more aggressive, the triple max plan negates the national debt. The superpower plan creates a global superpower.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of MSTR Today. And listen, it's Friday. I know a lot of you are drinking coffee while you're watching this show. So let's do a little cheers to another great day. Cheers. Thank you for watching. And if anybody's been noticing that I have a different color shirt on today, it's because I've been diving into my new swag store, and it's inevitable. Looks pretty sweet in yellow, if I must say so myself. I don't know if we would call this canary yellow, but I've got the Bitcoin orange for sure. That is officially the Bitcoin orange color for It's Inevitable, because you think it's inevitable, or at least I hope you think so. I believe it's inevitable. Michael Saylor believes it's inevitable. That's why I keep buying, as you can see right here. Another $210, boop, went into MSTR. They got me a 0.51 share. I bought it $411 yesterday. So not the top, not the bottom, but somewhere in between, which I'm totally fine with, because I'll be buying every single trading day of 2025. I believe in Bitcoin. I believe in strategy. I believe in Michael Saylor. And I'm really just honored that you're spending time here with me today. So thank you for that. And like Michael Saylor is known to say, there is no second best.
What's the second best? There is no second best.